I saw her hand first, before I saw his face. Fingers laced together on the white tablecloth, the way you only hold hands with someone when you've stopped caring who's watching. Then she leaned across the table and kissed him. Slow. Familiar. Nothing like the quick peck she gives her husband when he leaves for work. My sister. The day before Valentine's Day, I stood there with my coat still on, the hostess asking if I wanted a table for one, and I couldn't make my mouth answer her, because the man my sister was kissing was not her husband of 6 years. He was not the man who walked her down. No, who she walked down the aisle toward, crying happy tears 4 years ago. She saw me over his shoulder, her face just drained. She came outside after me, leaving him at the table, her heels clicking fast on the sidewalk. "Please," she said, grabbing my arm. "Please, please don't say anything. It's not what it looks like." But it was exactly what it looked like. I'd watched it with my own eyes. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. Not yet. I just asked her, "How long?" 8 months. 8 months of girls' trips and late nights at work. Then he came outside too. Calm. Too calm. He introduced himself like we were at a networking event, like his hand wasn't still warm from hers. And then he said something I will never forget as long as I live. He looked at me, completely steady, and said, "If you tell anyone, we'll just leave our spouses faster. That's all that happens. It doesn't stop anything. It just makes it messier." He wasn't threatening me. That's the part that still gets me. He wasn't angry. He was just informing me. Like the outcome was already decided, and my silence or my honesty were just variables that changed the timeline, not the ending. I told my sister she had 1 week to tell her husband herself. I wasn't trying to punish her. I genuinely believed, I still believe, that the only thing worse than the affair was him finding out from someone else. I wanted to give her the dignity of telling the truth in her own voice. She promised me she would. A week passed, then 10 days. I called her, and she said she needed more time. I said there wasn't more time. That's not how deadlines work. She got angry, told me it was her marriage, her mess, and I needed to stay out of grown folks' business since I'm not even married myself. What would I know about loyalty? So on day 12, I called my brother-in-law. My hands were shaking so bad I had to put the phone on speaker just to dial. I didn't gloat. I didn't dress it up. I just told him what I saw and let him do what he needed to do with it. He was devastated. Of course he was. But within a week, somehow, I became the villain of the story. Not my sister. Not the man who told me, to my face, that exposure was meaningless. Me. My mother called me selfish for blowing up the family 2 days before Valentine's. My aunt said I should have let them work it out privately. Even people who knew about the affair, who had suspected for months, suddenly acted like I'd invented the whole thing just to cause chaos. My boyfriend at the time. He broke up with me 3 weeks later, said watching me destroy my family over something that wasn't my business made him see a side of me he didn't recognize. He said I should have just stayed out of it. I asked him what he would have done in my place, and he didn't answer. He just said it didn't matter now. And here's the part that still sits heavy in my chest. The part nobody wants to hear. My sister left her husband anyway, 6 months later, for him, the man at the restaurant. Exactly what he warned me would happen if I exposed them faster. Happened slower, but it still happened. So I lost my boyfriend. I lost my family's trust. I lost my sister, who barely speaks to me now, who tells people I couldn't mind my business. I lost a year of my life to being the reason everyone looks away when I walk into a room at Thanksgiving. And the affair still ended the marriage, just like he said it would. People love to tell you the truth always pays off, that doing the right thing protects you. Somehow, like honesty comes with armor. It doesn't. Sometimes you do everything right, and you still lose everything: the relationship, the family, the peace. I think about that a lot now. Whether honesty is still worth it when it costs you everyone you love and changes nothing about the outcome. I think it is. I just don't pretend anymore that doing the right thing means you get a happy ending. Sometimes it just means you get to live with yourself. That's the only thing I kept. If you were in her position, would you have told the truth or stayed out of it? Tell me in the comments. I read every one.